Today I'm going to be showing you how to construct a BICtory, which is one of the more lower end quality pens for pen spinning. A BICtory looks like this in general. It is a double-sided mod pen that can be made of at the least 2 Bic round stick pens. Looks like this. These are commonly found in the United States, and I'm pretty sure pretty common in other places too. What you're going to need is 2 Bic round sticks, and optional you're going to need 2 grips and then 2 tips. But if you have just 2 Bic round sticks, it's perfectly fine as well. What you want to do first is you want to take the caps off of the 2 Bic round sticks, and then you're going to be left with the 2 pens with the tips on and the back plugs. Now, to get the double-sided pen effect, you're going to actually have to take out the back plug, and by that, to do that, you can either use a pair of scissors and either actually cut the top off, or you can use like pliers or the back of the scissors to apply pressure, which will eventually break the seal, the glue that's holding the plug in place, and then the back plug will pop out. And after that, you want to take the tip off, which can be done by just gripping it, twisting it, and pulling it out. And then you'll eventually be left with an empty barrel that has both the sides taken out, and it'll be hollow inside. And then you want to take that hollow barrel and then stick the one side of the pen in, and then take the other Bic round stick and take the other ink tube out, and you also want to place it in there. Now, depending on the pen, you might actually have to clip off this small clear part at the top of the ink tube. However, be cautious not to clip off too much, because if you do, what happens is that when you practice and you drop your pen, the ink will start spilling out and the inside of your barrel will be all black. I speak from experience. So if you want to prevent it, you also put a little bit of paper towel or a saran wrap over the edges when you cut them, and then either tape them down or put a small rubber band on, but try not to do too much of that, otherwise it won't fit down the barrel of the pen. So again, you want to stick both ends of the pen down the barrel and then click it into place. And when you do that, you'll be left with something that looks like this. Double-sided pen. Now, to make the actual caps of the BICtory, you can what you're actually supposed to do is you're supposed to take these caps and you're supposed to break the clip off, which can be done by either cutting it, burning it, or just snapping it off like that. And then you will get just an empty cap. And after you're done with that, you can pretty much just cap them on, and then you'll have a BICtory. But if you wanted to have slightly more weight, you can put grips onto the caps. In my case, I use 2 Pilot G2 grips that are from Pilot G2 pens. They look like this. The grips come from here, you just have to pull them off. It takes a little bit of wrestling to get them off, but you'll get it eventually. And what I use for the tips are 2 Bic Velocity mechanical pencils that look like this, and just unscrew the tips and then you can use them. And since the Pilot G2 grips are actually slightly longer than the actual Bic round stick cap, that actually helps hold the Bic Velocity tips in place. So there's no glue, no tape or anything, and you can just easily disassemble it. Like if I want to take the tip off, I can easily do that and stick it back in as well. And after you're done with that, you can just slip it onto the end, and then you have your finished BICtory ready to spin. Some of the downsides to this, a lot of people call it a beginner's or noob mod because it's so light and so easy to make, but quite personally, I think it's a pretty good, I call it a practice pen, like just a pen that you can learn tricks on, because it's lightweight. It won't make a giant crash when you drop it like some other pens would. And since it has grips, like if you drop it, no one's really going to notice it. Even if you drop it on a hard surface, it's not really that loud. A downside to this mod also, because the G2 grips aren't actually a snug fit on the big velocity tips, if you drop the pen hard enough, the tip will actually bend down. You just have to reset it every time, which isn't that big of a hassle, but it does get a little annoying. And, well, that's pretty much it that I have to say about this. Center balance is, well, in the center because it's a double-sided pen mod, and that way you always know which way the balance is, where it is, and it just makes it for good spinning. Also, because you have grips on both ends, if you're doing a combo and you need to go into wipe remove all of a sudden, you can use either end, and you don't have to arrange it so that the tip of maybe a single-sided mod might only have one side with a grip on it, and so you don't have to arrange it so that tip always ends up at your fingers. And some people might think just because this is a grip, it's just coming straight off the cap, that there is no actual holding place and that it's just the grip's flat. But because the big velocity tip is actually slightly bigger than the G2 grip, it creates a small bulge. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a small bulge, and that gives a good holding place to hold it when you're doing wipe remove or something like that. And besides that, it's pretty much it. These are really, really cheap to make if you just make it plain. If you make it with additional tips and grips, it might cost you a little bit more. This pen took 6 pens and pencils to make in total, 2 for the tips, 2 for the grips, and 2 of the Bic round sticks. But it can be made from just 2 regular Bic round sticks. If you have any other questions about how to construct this, or maybe the supplies you might need, you can pretty much find any of these at your local Walmart store, or supermarket, whatever you want to call it. And that's all I really need to know to construct it.